My name is Angus. I'm an attorney and I'm a physician at Chenaur and Associates. Today I'm going to talk about two very important cases, loss of chance cases in Washington law, Herskovits and more. Loss of chance is a difficult concept to grasp. Under Washington law, loss of chance means loss of probability, either for survival or for a better outcome. I created two graphs. These graphs illustrate how much value of life you lost and illustrate in a graphical manner. I'm going to illustrate the Herskovits case, the loss of the value of his life with this graph. The y-axis is the percentage of survival. The x-axis, horizontal axis, is time. At some point in time in Mr. Herskovits' life, he started having lung cancer. So his survival gradually decreases to this point when he saw his doctor for the first time. But the cancer was not diagnosed. Had it been diagnosed, he would have survived through this line with treatment to T4 over here. However, since the cancer was not diagnosed initially, it was diagnosed later at time T2, then his survival is lessened to T3. His longevity is then decreased from T4 to T3. The area under the curve represents the value of his life. In this case, this big triangle here represents the value of his life had there been no negligence. Whereas this other shape, smaller, represents the value of his life because of the negligence. So this difference in the area, T3, T4, represents the loss that he has sustained. This illustrates a Moore case, loss of chance case. In this case, the y-axis is a neurologic function. Up here is 100%, down here is 0%. And the x-axis represents time. Mrs. Moore sustained an injury at this point in time at T0, and she sustained neurologic symptoms until T1 when she saw the ER physician. Now, had the neurologic cause of her injury been diagnosed at that time, her neurologic status would have improved gradually with this dotted line, and a cross stabilized to this point here. However, the diagnosis was missed. As a result, her neurologic status declined further to T2 when the correct diagnosis was made, at which point she received treatment. Her neurologic status went down further before it stabilized at a lower level. The area under the curve represents the true value of her life. This bigger area represents the value of her life had the diagnosis been made correctly from the beginning. Since the diagnosis was made later, this lower curve, the area under this lower curve represents the value of her life after the diagnosis was finally made. The difference between these two curves, which is this area here, is the value of her life that's being lost due to negligence.